Welcome, friends, to a journey of exploration and discovery. On this January 14th, 2024, we gather to ponder a profound question with the sermon, What is Time? Join Reverend Judith Taylor of Tyler Unity Center as we delve into the mysteries of time, its meaning, and its impact on our lives. May this sermon offer you new perspectives and deeper understanding, inviting you to reflect on the moments that shape our existence.
Time. One of those things that we think we understand, but the more we look at it, the less we do. Yes, there's a time for everything under heaven. We've experienced that in all its myriad ways of expressing. What we don't necessarily know is how to go back in the past and change those things that we feel should have been different. When you look far enough back, you realize that had to happen for other things to happen, and things happened before that, so it could happen, and before that, there's an unbroken chain that we call time. But just like any chain, it goes back and forth. And usually when we wear chains, they are in a circle around our neck. They're in an unbroken circle, a continuity around our necks, our understanding. My understanding is different than anyone else who's ever been and ever will be, and so are yours. The things you see and realize and feel are special, unique to you. The joy that we share is our own individual joy. Our emotions express differently, but they are all our emotions. Yeah, we know love, we know all of those energies that they sang out, but our interpretation, our way of being is unique. That's why we are. Our method of interpreting all that is enriches everyone. Now, since we know God is love, we start there and end there. To everything there is a purpose. What is our first value? Love. When you look at everything, weighing all the things you think you know and all those things you think you don't, it all comes back to love. Love is underpinned by understanding. The more we can understand one another, the easier it is to love. If I interpret actions as being negative, that's my interpretation. For God is all there is, and God is love. So anything that looks unlike love is seen from a different stance. We all experience the human condition, however we define that. How do you define being human? Do you say I am just a human? Or are you a human in the image and likeness of our one Creator? Are you living as a human? Or are you limited to being a human? To every time there is a purpose. Who determines that purpose? In your life, you determine the purpose. You determine the amount of love you are willing to release. That is entirely up to you. Every second of your awareness is an opportunity to express love. Thinking it, feeling it, projecting it, envisioning it, engendering it. The love of God has no limit. We are the ones with choice. We know the quote, choose this day whom you will serve. There is no other. There is no choice. There is only God. Only God loving you in the best way possible for you, for where you are right now. As we grow, we experience love and other emotions in different ways. You will always be imbued, surrounded, and made of the love that you seek, that you need, that you are. There is a time for every purpose, and the purpose of living is love. Time never runs out. Our time as love is eternal, unending, unbroken, always supported by all that is the universe. That is who you are, and that will never change. This is the truth, and so it is. You feel warm? Thank you for inside you. That's the thing to remember, that all these different things that we perceive out here are really projections of ourselves. Now, yes, you're a different person. I'm standing up here. You're sitting there. We feel like we're individuals. But we also know that the reality of us is this, what we're thinking and feeling. Because these bodies, someone said it in Sunday school, these bodies will go. These are temporary apartments. And the point of an apartment is you're apart, right? You may share a roof, you may share an address, but there's an apartness. And that's what we experience here on this planet, the feeling of this is me and that's you. And that's a useful construct, because when you go into your mind and your heart and decide this is what is, you can live from that truth. Now, how we define that truth? I say ivory, you say grayish. I say yellow, you say sunshine. We use different words to describe things, but the thing itself is still what it is. Just because I called it beige didn't change it into beige. It was beige because that's what I think I see. I see. There's a difference between what I see and what is. And a lot of times we run into trouble because we think what we see is what is. Are you willing to reevaluate everything in your life as a possible interpretation as opposed to the truth? That's a big commitment. Because even the things you know as true, you have to look at them again. You don't assume, well, that's okay, so I can just keep on with all this. If you look every day at what you really believe, number one, boy, you have needed your life to know what you believe. Because a lot of the confusion is because we say we believe this and we believe that, but they contradict each other. If I believe that those people over there are against me, if that is love, perhaps we're talking about misinterpretation or a lack of a fact, misinterpretation of a certain situation. We let our emotions follow our interpretation of the world. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, I'm just saying it can be a liability. Because if I've decided what my emotion is before I've checked the facts, as much as I can know them, because we know we can never know all the facts, right? Then I've made a determination with incomplete information, and so it's likely to be wrong. I remember some time ago, my next door neighbor had experienced a death in the family. It wasn't somebody that she was really close to, so, they were going to gather at the house because they had the biggest house. She went by and she gave me a mean look. And I didn't do anything. I didn't kill the dude. I mean, I'm not in that. Weeks later, I found out she didn't even see me. She was looking me in my eyes, but she did not see me. She was looking at what was in her head. And don't we all do that sometimes? We think we're here, but we're really in our head. And what's in our head and in our heart may or may not be true. Someone you think can't stand you might love you deeply. We don't really know what's in somebody else's heart. They show us as much as they can, but nobody can show you all of it. Not possible. Because we're living in this material thing, and what you are is non-material. Your spirit, your soul, your thoughts, your feelings, that's what makes you you. But none of that is material. None of that is something I can touch. So I can interpret your look, your tone of voice, totally wrong. So what helps me is, regardless of what my interpretation is, start from that, your love. You could say something horrible to me, but that doesn't change who and what you are. We choose how we express based on that part of ourselves that we're concentrating on. We all have parts we love. We all have parts we all have parts that it's not me. But remember, it's not just that we're in the one, in the Creator. We are all those aspects that the Creator is. So if there is a true thing, the Kleenex box has qualities, and if you pick it up, you're going to get it. Well, guess what? You don't have to pick it up. This air in between, you're already in contact with it. So if someone else is being ugly or angry or whatever, you don't have to identify with them. You know that you have within yourself the capability of being that way. Loving, opposite, whatever. Which means you can understand. I don't have to. Can you mute it? It's a better warning. Sorry about that. I don't have to feel the anger. But if I acknowledge it as real, it becomes real in my world. If someone is not feeling well and they act that way, that's how they are feeling. That doesn't mean they are unwell. You could be crawling with typhoid. I can't think of anything worse than typhoid. Typhoid, okay? And if my mind is susceptible of that, I'll catch it. Now, I'm not saying everyone who catches COVID had that in their mind. But what I'm saying is we live in a universe of love. So anyone who's not here today wasn't supposed to be. Anyone who felt that they needed to lay down and get some rest, the universe is trying to help them be healthy. It's not a bad thing. And those of us that came together to share this energy, we're making the world a better place because our love continues, doesn't stop in this building. Our beingness, our sense of oneness, our sense of being part of the onward and upward development of humankind, that's real. Now, yeah, the people who aren't here may feel that too, and that's good. But we came together to merge our energies here, now, in this time. Now, you know that when I'm going to do a talk on something, I take a week and just dive into it. Boy, was that murky. Trying to go through time and see what the different studies about time. There are books about a holographic universe. There are books about a multidimensional universe. There are expressions of viewpoints based on this belief or that belief. And sometimes they match. Sometimes they don't. Who are we to say that they are wrong? We used to believe some things that were wrong, and they were right for us at that time. We mentioned in Sunday school about the Old Testament versus the New Testament, and that it almost seems like two different gods. But the Old Testament was what they needed at that time from their level of understanding. And I think that the spiritual realities that are going to be common 20 years from now, I don't think it's going to take that long, we already accept. Is it any less true because there are 8 million who don't? No. But our awareness of things helps us be able to use it in our life, in our experience. If I'm not aware that there's a community of thinkers and feelers who espouse love and live it in every part of their life, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know about unity. If I didn't know about the fact that our thoughts and feelings create this world, I would miss large chunks of reality because I wouldn't see it. I'm told that the Native Americans didn't see Columbus's or whoever's ships because it was outside of their reference. There was not some possibility in their world. How many things have we missed because we just didn't know about it? That's the time for everything. There was a time when all we wanted to do was play, and that was our job. The job of a child is to play. That's how they learn. But now, there are some adults who figured out the way to make the playing their life, their livelihood. And there's others who will never play again. We have choice. That's the difference. I love animals. But my cat can't, when I get a cat, can't stop being a cat. Now, I had a cat that acted like a dog and a dog that acted like a cat, but they were still who they were. Who are you? Don't answer that. Because anytime we use words, we're limiting the concept. Do you ever think about that? When I say love, there's so many different things I could be referring to. I could be referring to all of them. I could be just here. So when we use words, we're automatically leaving out some of the energy, the feeling, the concepts that we're trying to express. That's why it's so important to get in touch with your feelings. Because your feelings help you decide what words to speak. Now, if I'm speaking from 2 hours ago, there are a lot of things I won't know. And I may speak from the reality I know. And that is the time for that, because that is the truth I know. But as I know more, I can act more in accord to the whole truths. Now, yeah, we're in these human bodies with these, 3 pounds of gray matter? Mostly cholesterol. Isn't that interesting how much we try to get rid of cholesterol and our brains are cholesterol? Another topic. But the point is, a lot of things we think are good are not. Some things we think are bad are not. Why not judge, since we all are here with choice and judgment, judge everything as good? Ow, I hurt my toe. You got a toe. I mean, it seems minor. We take a lot for granted. But even the things that cause us pain are giving us a gift. We live in a universe that is entirely composed of love. We have the choice to be that or not. Do you realize what a big gift that is? We are truly free to choose how we are going to approach this wonderful place. It doesn't change how it is. Yeah, there are people over there doing something, people over there, but I choose to live now. Everybody lives in now, right? No, because time is relative. Now, for me standing here is different than time for Linda sitting there. Because the light has to get to her and get back and all of that. And the way this particular existence is made, that takes time. So at any moment, we're all here in this room, generally thinking and hearing the same thing, but not. Your now is different than my now. So when you think of it that way, we don't live in the same universe. You live in the universe that you believe is true. Now, if I don't believe that, my universe is going to be very different. If I live in a universe where the problem is simply that we haven't talked and don't understand each other, that's different than a universe where I believe they are my enemy. All of that is thought and feeling. And the more we can realize that we come from the same source, we live in the same source, we're made of the same thing, we realize we have so much more in common. And the things that we don't, simply that we need to communicate. That's what it comes from. Do you know anybody? No, you don't. And you know that. You know your version of them, your interpretation of what they've said and done. You know what they seem to be to you. What would it be like if we assumed that everyone was in the same now and that now is love? A lot of what we do, a lot of the decisions we make are based on our interpretation of the past. And yet when we talk about God, we say all-knowing, ever-present. Well, then how can that be here, there, all over? It's all one. So now is the only time there is. Even the string theory people have said now is all there is. The past, the future, all of that is projection. I think that certain things will happen based on my past. But I don't know what tomorrow's going to be. Tomorrow might be the most magnificent day in all of our lives. But we're happy now. We have not got that to compare. So when you realize that all of your perceptions are just that, perception, and that you can change your perceptions and your response to them, and that all you see of anyone else is your perception. We don't know the truth. We know what seems to be true for us at this point. But don't you plan to grow? Aren't you going to know more tomorrow? Just one day. You'll know more. Yeah, you will. Every day we get better. Even if it's only to reinforce something that we learned before. So by giving yourself the freedom, the openness of not a done deal. Yeah, we're adults, but we're not done deals. We are still infants compared to God. There's that much more we can learn and do and be. And the things that we have wanted to do in the past still exist. Remember last week we talked about everything, everywhere, all at once? And isn't that God? Everywhere, everything, all at once? So those things that were yearnings in your past, maybe it's time to speak them with a different accent. I speak English, but when I talk to people in Chicago, they say I don't. I speak Texas. When I talk to Texans, they say, where you from? And both are true. And that's true about us. As much as we've learned, we've got that much more to discover. As much as we've been able to do, we can do so much more. And the things that seem like limitations are opportunities to do that more. There's nothing holding us back. We can make time flow fast, slow, or stop still. And we've all done it. Time is a tool that we can use. And if I'm looking in this direction, and I realize there's something about my viewpoint that's not quite right, and I change to a new, fresher, more true viewpoint, what does it say? The former things have passed away. Because you see everything different, because you're different. So knowing that, why take anything as face value? You're going to be different. So accept what is now as now. You're not limited by it. It's just a bead on that string. And those beads keep going because time does not stop. And when I turn to look this way, I've not only changed my outlook, I've changed my relationship to my past. So I may be having a big angst about something that happened, but when I change my viewpoint, where I'm standing, my reference, I begin to reinterpret the things that happened in the past. So you can change the past. Just like I had been going on thinking that woman was mad at me. She didn't see me. So there was a whole construct that was just garbage. But when I got a little more knowledge, I could see clearly that it had nothing to do with me. A lot of things that we go through has nothing to do with us. It's just around us. We're convenient. We're in that spot. People get mad and you're there. Well, hey, have at it. So don't take it personal. All these things that go, these are circumstances. The only reality is God. And knowing that, all these things that we're going to go through are for our good. We have things to learn, but we learn them in the gentlest way possible because God loves us. Sometimes we're kind of hard-headed and we have to get knocked upside the head with a cosmic 2x4. Sometimes it's a baseball bat. Sometimes it's... So by being focused on God and realizing that that is the truth of everything, then we can perceive, and we don't need a, hey buddy, wake up. Remember that you are surrounded, imbued, made of love. Before anything, after anything, remind yourself of that. And you will see love. You will be love. And will always be the time for love. Now let's stay.
Thank you, friends, for joining us in this contemplative exploration of what is time. As we part ways on this January 14th, 2024, may the insights shared by Reverend Judith Taylor linger in your thoughts, inspiring you to cherish each moment and ponder the deeper rhythms of life. For more spiritual insights and resources, please visit our website at tylerunitycenter.org. Connect with our community by visiting our Facebook page and subscribing to our free weekly newsletter. And if you're in the Tyler, Texas area, we invite you to join us at 14024 Highway 155 South for further fellowship and exploration. Copyright 2024 Tyler Unity Center. All rights reserved. May your understanding of time enrich your journey, filling each day with purpose and mindfulness.